Good afternoon. Uh, I am recording this video right during as the Super Bowl is beginning, and I went over to Richard's gravesite and I just had a nice talk with him. Of course, he's not answering. I don't hear him talking back, but I just felt like his presence was there. And I said, Richard, I feel sad because I know I miss seeing you watching the Super Bowl, especially. I know how happy you would be to see one of your favorite teams make a comeback, uh, the Patriots, that is. Um, but I felt like I just felt good to sit next to his gravesite and tell him the only reason liked football was because of you, Richard, and there would be times when he would record uh, the game to get past all the ads. And if it was especially really an amazing game, we're close, very close, where it came down to maybe just 1 point, uh, he would say, you got to see this. Because right at the end, when the other team, for an example, was definitely had it, and no doubt about it, they had it in the net, so to speak. And he said, right at the end, he said, you got to see this. And it would be a play where they'd throw a Hail Mary, a Hail Mary. One of the quarterbacks would throw a Hail Mary and it would go all across the whole damn field. And the guy would jump up like 20 feet and catch it, and boom, they'd end up winning the game. It was plays like that he would call me in. Because usually I'm listening by the side, like I'm usually in the kitchen making some dinner, or Super Bowl dinner for him. Just like Thanksgiving, I'd make a special dinner on Super Bowl day. And he'd say, you've got to see this. You got to come in and see this. And I'd come in and he'd show me the play, and it was like, oh my gosh, how did they do that? And so many games have ended that way, where it was just took one play and boom. Even though the other team was way ahead, and then the other team would catch up and then would come down to just one more play, and maybe sometimes it would come down to just one kick over the goal. And whenever the kicker made it and that was it, they won just by, like say 2 points. It was always so exciting, and I always enjoyed that. And Richard, if you're up there, in heaven watching the football, I hope it's going to be a good game for you. But I'm not going to watch it because that's something that we did together, and it just would make me sad to be all by myself watching it. But I I went to the graveside and I talked to him, and I said, Richard, this is such a beautiful spot that your son found, and I think I'm going to have to call Dignity and ask him if I can. Oh, there's look at Schmickles. He's playing ball. He's in a good mood. He's playing with the big ball that you bought him. He loves that big ball. Schmickles, give me that ball. Give me that ball. He's playing with the big ball. That's my ball. And Schmickles is always so respectful when we go to the gravesite. He sits, and it's like he knows. I don't know how, but it's like he knows that I'm talking to you. I'm talking to Richard. And Schmickles, that's my ball. Oh, he gave me the big ball right up here. Oh.
Give me that big ball. Give me that big ball. Come on, give me that big ball.
He's in a good spirit. I think Richard is coming through to Schmickles to let me know that Richard is with me. You know, there are different things. There are different signs. You have to have trust. Sometimes it's through your pet. Sometimes it's through your dog that they speak to you. And I was wondering as I was talking to Richard, saying, you know, I should call Dignity and see if I can get a plot, you know, right next to his gravesite, because it's so beautiful right there. And it would be nice to have our bodies buried together there. And right as I was talking to him, I was talking to him out loud. No one's there, you know, no one's there to see me. You have to be careful about that. You don't want to, you know, talk to your beloved one that passed. If you're in the grocery store or something and you start talking out loud, Richard, what do you think of this? I don't know whether I should buy this or that, you know, then somebody's going to, you know, blow the whistle and, you know, get a white jacket on this gal. There's something wrong with her. But people that are grieving, people that have lost their beloved loved ones, they know what I'm talking about. That they talk with them. They talk out loud sometimes, and sometimes you can be in the market and talk to them silently. But I was at the gravesite just talking out loud with Richard, and I told him some of the things that I did. You know, I said, you know, Richard, I don't know, you know, maybe you would have said, no, leave everything, you know, don't do anything to the porch. But I think if you saw how beautiful it came out, you'd be very happy. Because I didn't use paint. I just used a nice stain, a light stain, so the wood on the porch still shines through, so to speak. All the woodwork. It's just gave it a nice, and it needed that because the stain is oil based, and that really does help to protect the wood. So I've been doing these little projects, and I was telling him that, and I was saying, Richard, you know, this is still all yours. You know that. I'm just here taking care of it for you. That's all I'm doing. It's all yours. Everything in that home is yours. The home is yours. And I was just lucky to be with you, to share it with you. And I'm just going to do what I have to do to take care of it for you. Not that you would, where you are right now, where it matters that much. It doesn't, you know, because you're in a place where, in absolute love of God, and just a happy place of continual learning, which is, God knows that about your soul. God must have said, this soul is very special because his whole life, all he did was learn, and that's what life down here is about, to learn. And you never stop learning, Richard. You are always learning, and I just so admire that about you. But I was talking, and all of a sudden, two beautiful hawks came flying by, and one just flew exactly right over me and Schmickles in the gravesite. I mean, just a few inches above. Just, you know, just swooped down right above us. And I thought, thank you, Richard. You sent a sign to me that you're hearing me, that you're with me. And I just wanted to share that with you all, that when you start thinking that you're completely alone, and you feel the emptiness without your beloved one in the house, and you can't enjoy the things that you used to enjoy, like watching the football game together, just know that you're never alone. And I really believe that. You're not alone. And you have to trust that. And I just felt very positive today that Richard has been with me and guiding me, and they're in a place where they can send their loving thoughts to you through telepathy, and you have to trust that. And this morning I was thinking, what's the difference really between faith and belief? And I was thinking, well, I believe that Richard is with me. I believe it with all my heart. But I also have faith, because faith is a little different from belief. Faith is something where you absolutely know it in your heart without any proof at all. You just know it. And belief is you more in line with hope. You believe and you hope, but faith is where you trust it completely with all your heart, soul, and mind. Even though faith is kind of a thing where you're taking that, as Kierkegaard put it, that faith of that leap of into the unknown, you trust that. And I have been feeling that, even though I have been down in the depths of depression since I lost Richard. Uh, but I hold on to the faith that I'm not alone, that he is with me. And you have to sort of, once in a while, I think, I need proof, I need proof. But you have to let go of that sometimes and just trust your heart, and trust that faith. Uh, because sometimes, you won't see the signs. You won't see the 111 on the clock, or you won't, uh, necessarily feel a presence where you start to think you are alone, and you have to clear away those doubts and just realize they're with you, and they're really not that far away. It's all a matter of vibrations, and the astral world is not that far away. And beyond that is something even more extraordinary that cannot even be described in human terms. So hold on to that, my friends, and God bless. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Bye bye.